Howdy, Runaway camper owners. This is not a video that's going to end up on my YouTube channel. I actually already have a video about installing underglow lights, but I thought I'd do a short one because I just installed at the Terre Haute rally. Rebecca had mentioned she had a kit that she had won at the homecoming rally that I gave away. So I did install that, and I shot some pictures, a little bit of video, but I've got my props here ready. And I'm just going to go through it very, very quickly. And thanks for watching. I just started a timer, so if I go too long, I can only do 10-minute length videos at a time, and I just filmed the whole thing and went too long, which is not surprising. Okay, before we get going, my quick explanation of these underglow lights. I absolutely agree with some of you watching this that it's silly. You don't need underglow lights. You don't. You don't. But they're kind of fun to have. The cool guys have them, and gals have them underneath their cars and trucks and all that. It's legal some places it's not. I won't get into that. I like having the underglow lights on our transit because if you're like me, you go camping and you go to another campground and you come out of the bathroom at 2 in the morning and you're turned around. Where's my van or my camper? And so I typically have light. I've got some of these underglow lights actually on the top. I usually have them green up there, and I have blue here underneath. And I look and I can go, oh, there's a van right there. It just kind of helps me. And the other reason is, what I did with our transit, I have one strip on the front, two along the step, and then the running board, and then one across the back. I don't have one on this side because I want at night to turn on that light. When you step out of the sliding door, it's lit nicely, and if I go out the back door, it's lit and you can see the steps. So it just makes it safer going in and out. Okay. I know it's not required, but it's a simple, fun thing to do. There are two kits. Wayne Riley, I put one on his that is fancier, costs a little more. I'll pop it up here, and the difference with that is each little diode along the strip, the light strip, can be an individual color, so it can do fancier colors and all that. And it's cool, and you even have an app you can use with it to dial it in. There's 200 patterns. You can do crazy stuff. You can induce seizures if you want. And the other one is, and it's 4 strips, but they're all interconnected. They all go to one little control thing and then go to the battery. So you have to, it's kind of unwieldy as you are putting it underneath. Got to make sure it's above the axle of the Runaway. And it's cool, but I don't like putting them on. They're kind of a pain. So the simpler one that I have here and that I put on Rebecca's at the Terre Haute rally, it's 4 separate strips. 2 shorter ones, 2 longer ones. Okay, it's important to make sure you know which is which. Okay, and just makes it easier because you feed the wires and start gathering them together, and then at the end they plug into their own little wire, and then it's a plastic piece. It's kind of a control thing, all waterproof because it's meant to be underneath. And then out comes one cable with a plug on it, and you feed that up through the hole of the floor or however you're going to do it. And then you have another cord that plugs into that, and into that is the typical cigarette plug thing that you plug into your EcoFlow, your Jack, or your Blue Eddy, or whatever you've got, or into a converter. If you have a converter, you plug into your outlet because you have shore power, and you can run it that way as well. If you have shore power, you can run it without having the battery thing. Okay, real quickly, what do you need? Really, all I've needed are zip ties. A lot of zip ties. I use different sizes, and I'll talk about that. But as the wires come along the edge of the Runaway, and I feed all the wires over to the driver's side because that's where the power is, and I'll show my fancy diagram in a second. They come along the side, and as one wire, then 2, then 3, then 4, I am zip tying with smaller and making bundles as I go along. Okay, so I use lots of zip ties, heavy scissors. I think I put a little piece of duct tape on the end of each one, the ends, just to make sure. But these light strips have high bond value tape, and that stuff really holds, especially on the PVC composite floor underneath. Okay, so here's my fancy diagram. I use a very detailed CAD program, my brain, which is actually probably can do more than some computer programs. Well, not my brain, but anyway, here's my fancy Runaway drawing. Here's the front, the hitch, here's the taillights going, and real quickly, underneath it's the PVC smooth surface. So you're going to clean where you're going to put each strip wash it, and then I would go over it with Windex. That's what I used, Rebecca had for me, or you could use rubbing alcohol. Really, really clean it, let it dry, and then you'll be good to go. There are beams in the chassis. Here's your chassis, here's your hitch, and there are beams that go across, so they're open, 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 and in the back there is a piece across here, okay? And so remember, this light kit is made for a car, so the wires are much longer than you need, so you have to, that's why you're going to be gathering them. And so in the back it's a smaller section, so make sure you use one of the small sections, peel it, and place it at a diagonal. So I'm at the rear of the Runaway, and what you'll do is you use one of the smaller strips here in the back panel, because there's a bar here in between, so it's two sections. So you just go diagonally across and have the cable sticking out on that side, on the driver's side. And then there's one there, and if you look there you can see two more. So it's open panels all the way across, and so I just cleaned it with Windex. You could use alcohol, get it super clean, peel off the backing, stick it on, rub it hard. Now you've got a wire coming out right here, and you're going to feed it along here. Along here is the factory wiring. It's already zip tied up there, and that's what you're going to zip tie the wires as you go along. They do make zip tie holders that you could use, but I found that I didn't really need to use them, these little zip tie holders. You slide the zip tie through it, the cable, and then you go like that, and this sticks underneath, okay? But you may not need these, but it's possible. And so now I've got one wire coming here. Here's another one. It can be long or short. Now I've got two wires, so I zip tie those together. Come along now, I've got three wires coming out, and I would put a long one here, all right? And then by the time you get here, now you've got four wires all feeding together, so you're just grouping them together as you go along, as I'll show you. I'm now and then sticking in some video or pictures as I'm rambling here, okay? And so here are all the wires coming from the four strips, and then this is extra wire. They have extended wires, and so I've got a zip tie city here, so it's all nice and neat and held there. And then all the wiring, there's one of the strips there, and there's one there, and down farther, and then the one in the corner. So just make sure that when you do this, that you save one of the shorter ones for the to go catty corner in the back, or the long one won't fit. So clean it real well, and you will have those stick. And then I put a little piece of duct tape on the strips, like right here, just on the end, just to hold it. I really didn't need to do it, but I just do it anyway, and just to make it really secure. And so that's how I did it. So now we got the wires all gathered together, okay? And then those four will plug into, there's like a little control box, I call it, plastic, and out of it's coming four plugs. So these four wires are now all gathered together, and it's more than you need. You may have to kind of wrap them up and gather them, and you plug those in, okay? Now this, out of this thing that's plugged is one wire, and that's where you can come up through the floor, make a hole small enough to come up through the floor just to fit that plug through. And then on the other end you've got the cigarette plug and you plug it in, okay? Plug it in, and there you go. And then you seal the hole underneath and on top. It will not leak. Just seal it. With Rebecca, we came up under because they had bookshelves, and I didn't want to drill through that, and I couldn't really seal it that way. And so we came up the front, and they're going to use some of that Legrand Raceway cover stuff. I'll show you right now. You get for $5 or $6 at Home Depot, and that's what I used. If you've seen my video showing the extra taillights, you can add. And so we came up. I popped out the cable connector, because they don't do cable TV when they're camping. I popped that out, and I cut a little hole, and ran, as you'll see in the picture, ran the cable up and through that hole, and then now it can plug into the cord that's got the 12-volt plug. And my picture shows I've got it duct taped with this white duct tape, but they're going to take that tape off. I'm sure they've already done it by now, and put in that Legrand Raceway stuff, and it will hold tight. I know people I did a bunch of taillights installations years ago, and they're holding really, really well. So just check them now and then, or put a piece of tape at the top and bottom to be sure. So there you go. It's pretty easy, and you can, like I say, you can run it to a battery, like a EcoFlow or Jackery or Bluetti inside here, or you could have it, you could just not go inside at all and have, if you had a storage box here, you could have a battery in there and run it, or run it to the car. It's however you want to do it, okay? But it's just handy to have it inside, so at night you can turn it on. And oh, funny thing, that remote, two people were accidentally turning each other's on and off and didn't realize it. Rebecca was checking hers, and the Nixon's 2 down. I didn't realize the remote would reach that far. And so they were, one night they were turning each other's on and off, and they couldn't figure out what was going on, so they just turned them off altogether. So it is a possibility it could happen, but it's unlikely, and you could really bug your runaway neighbor if they've got the same thing as you. So anyway, there we go. Pull the tape off, put them on, and you're fine. That means I've got 1 minute left here, so I'm going to make it this time. And you can have a nice glowing light underneath. Makes a nice little ambiance, and you can find your camper in the middle of the night. So there you go. Not much to it, not needed, but I found it to be very handy. And thanks for watching.